Pay attention to this surveillance video from the Foxhall Resort. 12 hours before she was found, the camera captures Uriha Ridge leaving her hotel room without any heating supplies for the two children. The video is only 6 seconds long, then it ends. If part 1 depicted the haunting rescue scene, part 2 will expose the entire conspiracy and the cruel indifference of Uriha Ridge. The police have uncovered a horrifying reality in the forest. Join Liu Channel as we unravel the final dark layers behind this woman's life sentence.
Isn't that guy down there, isn't that the one who said he found her?
Yes.
While the officers were still gathering and loading supplies, they didn't hesitate to take Elijah to the nearest hospital. Elijah said he felt exhausted, and his persistent cough was a sign that his body was severely weakened.
Can you get it off? If not, I'm going to cut it off.
I don't know. Is it easier for us to get out that way or now?
No, not that, but the officer up there was talking to someone and said they were going to look at where you had a Christmas party. He said everybody wanted to ride.
Okay.
All right, grab around my neck like this.
Are you guys transporting the 3-year-old?
Hello?
Med 4 has a
Negative, 3-year-old's critical. She's already been transported. I'm with the 7-year-old boy in the back of this QRV. Med 4 has the 3-year-old.
Yeah, they were soaked.
What should be following?
I don't know. Everybody was soaked.
5 and headed your way to home. 10-4. Whoever has the 7-year-old in the car, you can bring him to the main ER entrance. They know you guys are coming.
In the morning?
303 or 313.
Where'd her phone go, Kyle?
They don't know. Where'd your phone go?
Isn't that guy down there, isn't that the one who said he found her?
Yes.
Does he have her phone?
I gotta get my mug and I ain't got a hat on.
We're gonna check pneumonia. I guess we can clear this roadway because they can't go through that. We're gonna have to turn around and go back this way,
You
right?
can't make it up there. That racer, we had that thing on 2 wheels.
After ensuring the safety of the two children, the officers continued searching the forest and found Uriha. She was almost completely exhausted. Her body was ice cold, and she looked like she was in shock. Medical personnel quickly placed her on a stretcher and took her straight to the hospital, but the atmosphere remained extremely somber. Time passed, and the condition of the children and their mother showed no improvement.
I think they came from that way.
Yeah.
And there's a gate it's off Taps Ferry, like right off the side of the road. You can't see it unless you know it's there. But I guess GPS took them there and Uber let them out there. So they came through that back gate.
So instead of thinking they were up there, they came through down here, and by the time they got
walked
here, because
all
of
the way
weather.
through here. I mean, it's probably I don't know. I get lost back here. It's probably a mile or more that they covered on this trail, and then got here. And what's sad is if they would have crested that hill, they would have seen structures. You know, maybe not.
Okay.
I mean, they could have just as easily got looped around. So,
Austin, is people got your name and your date of birth yet?
yeah.
Okay, all right.
Officer with the
Let's make sure.
I say big white guy, but just like.
So this is the only thing, it's just here?
I didn't see anything else on the whole way, any of their stuff.
And where did you say she came from?
Look at that.
The gate is back that way, and I think to the left. It's right off Caps Ferry. I can pull it up.
We got it's a long way.
I have no idea.
Look at that.
Amanda, I can pull the
Can
footage.
you pull the footage and let us see that? This is where she
Let me call
is.
her now.
That's where we are, and that's where Cass Ferry is.
The man who found them gives a detailed statement.
Pulled up. She was laid out with her hands at her side, and her face was covered in mud up to here, covered in leaves. Like maybe they tried to cover her with leaves. And her eyes were, I mean, as big or wide open as I've ever seen. And bubbles coming out of her mouth. And she was right, I think around where that impression is right here. She was laid like that. And the mom was sitting kind of far away from her there.
No, once you drop me off, I stay here. Make sure nobody. There was
Was the mom talking?
the other maintenance guy that came up. He come walking up through here a few minutes ago.
I told him all. I said, I want to get these wet clothes off of you. And I was shedding stuff to put on them.
Right.
And I kept telling her, she said, okay, but she wouldn't do nothing. She was in shock. So I picked up that little girl first and put her in that red coat and sat her down. And then got the little boy to stand over by the exhaust, thinking maybe it would help warm him up a little bit.
What was he wearing?
A gray hoodie. I don't know if those gloves were his or if they came from my guy. I didn't see that,
Okay.
Connor, which is one of those yellow gloves you found.
Right.
And then she couldn't stand up. She had her shoes off and her feet out, the mom, and I picked her up and put her in the back seat. And then I had to mess with the little girl for a while because she was in the front and I didn't want her to fall, so I just kind of burritoed her in that coat and put it over her face. But when I looked at her in there, when I put her down and then came back out here to get with them, when I came back again, I thought she was dead. She just wasn't doing nothing. I mean, and her skin was ice cold and her eyes were looking up. And then she groaned a little bit and some more bubbles came out.
Do you know how long they've been staying here?
I have no idea.
Who would know that information?
Amanda, at the
Can
front
you get
desk
Amanda
manager.
on the phone?
Yeah.
Because we're going to need that footage,
You want
too.
to? Yeah, she's pulling that. I asked her to
Okay.
get that for you. You want to know when they checked in?
Yeah, when they checked in, how long they've been here.
The man stated that he tried to help the girl, along with her brother and mother, as all three showed signs of severe hypothermia. However, one detail in his account particularly caught the authorities' attention. Throughout the ordeal, the mother made no attempt to assist.
What was Mom doing?
She was had her knees up, arms around her knees like this. Phone was sitting where it still is, on the ground beside her. Shoes were off. She didn't have her hands clasped, just on her knees.
What was she wearing?
She had no socks, no shoes, the green leggings, a hoodie, and a red jacket. The hood was up over her face, and then but really, honestly, I saw the little girl. Pretty much the main thing I saw. And the boy was in the background standing. I told the officers I can't remember if he had the yellow gloves on or if Connor gave him those. Because I'm not sure still. But I grabbed a red coat out of my car, and it's like a weatherman jacket, a big fluffy jacket. And I had it on, I took it off, and I laid it down and like picked the little girl up and tried to roll her onto that, and I wrapped her up in it. And she didn't blink. She didn't do anything. She just had bubbles sitting out of her mouth, eyes as wide as possible, looking up at the sky. I put her up on my shoulder and I kissed her forehead and I said, it's going to be okay. And I tried to like rub her and warm her back.
She was freezing at that point?
I mean, frozen.
Yeah.
I mean, she was ice. She didn't move.
So did you think she was gone at that point?
I thought she was gone when we pulled up.
Right.
Like I said, because the mom was sitting so far away, and the son. To me, my gut reaction was like they're staying away because she is dead.
Right.
I don't know. That's what
And
I
you
thought.
said her face was on the ground.
Her face was. I could only see, her left eye and the bubbles, and then she had sticks and mud and leaves on her face. She had some sticks and stuff and leaves on her back. She was obviously wet. Her hands were down at her side, wasn't moving in the mud. So I put her in that, wrapped her up, and started rubbing her back and panicking, not knowing like what should I deal with first. And I told the little boy to
Were
come
you
with
guys
me.
on the phone with dispatch at that point?
I gave my phone to Connor, and Bob was calling him, and I told him to run up here, and I could hear sirens at that time.
Okay, good.
They were back here somewhere.
Right.
So I don't know what he said to them, but I felt like I was down there alone for a long time, honestly, and put her in the passenger seat.
The baby? Okay.
First, fully dressed and everything she had on.
What was she wearing at that point?
Little Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse hoodie. But one more thing, when I put the little girl in the car, I actually put her in the driver's seat first, got the little boy to the exhaust, picked up the mom and put her, because she wasn't moving, and when she stood up, she acted like she couldn't stand on her feet, so I had my arms around her waist and her feet were on the ground, and then I put her hips up on my hips and put her in the seat.
She was
She was like
straddling you?
koalaed around me.
Yeah, and you was carrying her to the
And
ATV?
then,
Okay.
and struggled to get her in. That way those doors open. Then I asked the little boy to go sit down. I said, you got to sit down and get you out of here. And put him in the back passenger side seat. And then I had to move the little girl. But before I moved her, I took that little white hoodie off of her. Because...
And that's what's located in your ATV right now.
I thought she
was she soaking wet? Because that thing is wet and dirty. Was she?
Oh,
when
yeah.
You picked her up?
I mean,
she was wet and dirty.
Soaked. But the things are so thin, she wasn't dripping water. She just was soaked. Right? I mean,
Hotel staff confirm cameras exist and footage will be reviewed. Hotel staff provide more details.
We found them. You did? Yeah, the kids are not. It's not good, so we're dealing with it now. I need to get some information from you, please.
No problem.
The last time you saw her, she was in here.
Yes, she was in here. She walked in with her 2 children. They went to the lounge area.
Was she drinking or anything?
I didn't see her doing any drinking. I know one of the kids fell asleep on her lap. The other one was like there, just playing around and stuff. And they got up about. They were here for about, I want to say like 2 hours.
You have cameras in here?
Yes, some cameras.
Where they at?
Yeah.
Are they in?
This is the Uber here.
The Uber dropped them off here?
No, this is when they got in. I don't have video of them coming back.
It's kind of
because
strange.
we never saw them.
It's
come
just
back.
strange how she got so mixed up.
After reviewing footage, police confirm the family left the hotel more than 12 hours before being found. Investigators conclude the children were exposed to freezing temperatures overnight. New information emerges.
All right, buddy. We're here. I'm gonna pull you out in just a second, okay? Oh, come on. I got you. All right, buddy. They're gonna take care of you, okay? They're gonna take care of you, okay? Thanks, dog. Ain't no problem. Thanks for giving me a ride.
What did he say about tonight?
So they got picked up at his mom's work somewhere not in Douglas County. She was supposed to get off 4:30. She was getting off at 11. A male picked them up in an Explorer, brought them to the end of a road, and then they got out and they didn't know where they were at. And they've been walking around ever since.
Okay. Do you have a minute to call Nathan and tell him that?
Yeah, I can.
Okay. And then this is all your stuff.
Yeah. That is. That's sister.
Alina Pascal.
She what?
Alina Pascal, whatever.
Oh, I thought you said. Oh, okay. Where's she at?
They're doing CPR and she's.
Uriha Ridge passes away at the hospital due to hypothermia. Elijah survives. He later tells investigators that when he and his sister said they were cold, their mother told them to be quiet. He says he covered Alina with leaves, trying to keep her warm. This moment became one of the most heartbreaking. A 7-year-old boy doing everything he could to protect his younger sister. Authorities report Uriha Ridge had consumed substances before entering the woods. She is convicted of multiple charges, including murder and substance-related offenses. She is sentenced to life in prison.
So the state would argue that's a violation of her bond. She was not to physically harm Alina Pascal or Elijah Pascal. Unfortunately, Judge, due to Ms. Ridge's actions, 3-year-old Alina Pascal is now deceased. And the state is alleging felony murder based on cruelty to children of first degree committed by Ms. Ridge. And as Sergeant Mitchell testified to, Elijah Pascal was in critical condition due to the actions of Ms. Ridge. So the state would argue that she violated that bond condition and she did physically harm both Alina and Elijah Pascal. What was submitted as M2 and M3, Judge, was...
The rescue in the Douglas County woods ended with the most heartbreaking truth. 3-year-old Alina did not survive after a long night battling the cold. This true crime case concludes with a life sentence for Uriha Ridge for murder and harmful treatment. Although Alina is gone, the heroic actions of her 7-year-old brother Elijah will forever be a testament to love overcoming cruelty. Thank you for following this journey in the pursuit of justice. See you tomorrow on Liu Channel.